Welcome to the Faithful Agent Podcast, a place for real estate training, community, and amazing stories about God's faithfulness all through a biblical lens. If this episode encourages or inspires you, please leave a 5-star review and share it with a friend. And I want to help this community sell more homes in a biblical way. Go grab my free guide, Redefine the Win, to learn how to build a predictable, profitable business that aligns with the way God made you. Go grab it below in the show notes or go to 210collective.com/redefine. I hope you enjoy this week's episode. Hey everybody, welcome back to an episode of the Faithful Agent Podcast. I am glad you've joined me today. I met our guest, Linda Bayliss-Spence, just a week ago as we were doing a Faithful Agent Mastermind. If y'all aren't in tune with the Faithful Agent Facebook page, go check it out, or part of the Christian Real Estate Network, go check that out. We're doing more live trainings, more support, trying to encourage that community. But Linda came on and blew me away, honestly, and I think her story is a story that is going to be encouraging to many of you of how her years and years of loving on people, serving in ministry, now she is reaping what she sowed, right? The godliness of pouring into other people, and now how that's growing her business by being herself. And I think it's going to be an encouragement to all of you. So I'm excited to dive into that. Before I do, let's see, Linda, there's so many jokes and I don't know if any of them are funny, but let's try this one. Why didn't Noah go fishing? This is so cheesy. He only had 2 worms. Womp womp. That's kind of funny, right? Knee slapper. Thank you, Linda. I knew I was glad you were here. But so let's jump right into Linda, because you are in your 2nd year, but crushing it already, right? Which, praise God, and it's only by his kindness, as you said to me pre-show, but crushing it already. Since 2001, you've been the executive director of your local pregnancy resource center, which is awesome. You've served in your church. You've had an incredible presence in your community. And now all of a sudden you get into real estate, and it's like all of that time that you poured into other people is now coming back and helping you grow your business. So give me a snapshot. What does your business look like year 2 going in? And then we're just going to dive into why it matters for you to be yourself and authentic in this industry. You don't got to go cold call 3 hours a day. You can show up and be yourself. Give me a snapshot, Linda, of where your business is right now.
Well, the beginning of the year, I always say that real estate is like an emotional roller coaster. And the beginning of the year, it started out really slow for me. And I was starting to get a little concerned because I had nothing. Everybody says I have nothing in my pipeline. So I had nothing in my pipeline. And then it was April, and then boom. I mean, in a matter of weeks, I had like 10 houses under contract. But I want to say that I work really hard, and I work long hours. And I put 110% into what I do here. But I had an incredibly busy spring and summer so far, and it has blown me away that I know that the Lord has blessed me through my business. There's no other explanation for that. And anytime that anyone calls and asks me to represent them or list their house or whatever, I consider it an honor. And the other thing is that, I've had some nice, larger price sales, and I've had some that are not, but I don't care. I'm going to treat people the same. If someone buying a $500,000 house is fabulous, but somebody getting their first home and it's $250,000 or whatever, I treat them equally, because that person, they're both as excited as the other one, and I just think it's important to celebrate every person and try to make it the best transaction I can and be excited with them and just walk them through it and let them know that they can trust me and have confidence in me to get us to the closing table.
That's good. And I love when you were on the mastermind, how we connected, right, in the mastermind last week, and you graciously agreed to be the guinea pig, and so we started having that conversation, right? What I love and appreciate, and I think will be encouraging to agents, is you aren't systematic, right? That's not by nature. You're not like, hey, this is what I do, then this, blah, blah, blah. I show up and I love people well, right? As I think about them, how do I serve them? How do I, minister to them? And through that, now you could be more systematic, sure, cool, awesome. But through that, through sowing into people's lives, again, now you're able to reap. So talk to me about, your executive director. You're running this crisis pregnancy center, which is an incredible thing, an incredible, important work in this ministry. You get into the industry, a lot of the pressure is you got to cold call, door knock, open houses, all these things, right? How do you show up and say, you know what, I'm going to be me? Like, talk to me about that. Was there a lot of pressure for you to do those other things? You feel confident of, I'm just going to be me, it's going to be okay? Like, what was that experience like for you coming into the industry?
It's a faith walk for me. Is trusting God that He's going to open the right doors for me, and each person that I get as a customer or client, I look at them as divine appointments, and I am not disciplined enough to do the systematic thing. I'm too out of the box for that, and I just think that just doing things the way that I was created to do things. I mean, I can always do things better, and there's always room for improvement, but I just don't have the time to sit down and do these types of things that everybody else says you have to do or whatever. I can't do it. And I mean, I have to be flexible. Now, fortunately for me, I've been with the center for so long, I was able to sit down with my board of directors and say, look, I want to do this, and I need you all to support me. And they actually let me hire someone to take part of my job at the center.
Oh, amazing.
So I'm only here a few days a week now, and it's very flexible. And my staff at the center, they are like my best friends as well. We've all got each other's back here. So if I say, hey, you guys, I've got a closing today, they're going to cover for me. And if I have to go show a property, they're like, go. The board has been 100% supportive of this, and so it's worked real well. And we'll sit down, me and the staff and I will sit down and talk about, is anybody ready to move on? And we're all like, no, this is working, and we're all able to do. I'm into doing real estate. We're all the same age bracket. They're traveling all the time. So we just cover each other, and it works well for us. It may not work for other people, but it's working.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Again, I talk a lot on the show, and we talked in the mastermind, but is the willingness to be authentic, right? And it's not the weird, words of the day of like, be you, do all these things. I don't mean that. I mean, the Lord wired you a very specific way. Go be that. Be excellent at that, right? Be who you are. You, Linda, would not succeed in this industry if you said, oh, well, the industry told me success is, cold calling 2 hours a day and door knocking and all this. Like, maybe it would work because your personality, but you would burn out from that, right? Operating counter to the way the Lord wired you, to what fires you up. And so you just living out, right, first of all, the way the Lord wired you, but also, again, I love this because there's so many people, I think, who as believers should be treating people the right way because that's the way the Lord would want us to. And they're maybe looking at this industry, maybe coming into this industry, maybe listener, you're the kind of person like Linda who's just been loving on people well. You've been serving in your church, doing all those things, but your broker or whoever came in and told you, nope, be on the phones, do that, working by referral and relationship doesn't work, all those things. And hopefully this story is going to help you say, that's not true at all, right? I'm going to go love people the way that I was called to love people. So what does that look like for you, Linda? Is it specific things that you do? What are you doing to get out in that community and engage with the community?
Well, first, I have to say that my broker, I'm so grateful he has a good sense of humor, because I do use humor a lot in real estate. And on TikTok, I have done videos like, there was one of my first ones was I was talking about I finally found an affordable home for you, and it's a playhouse, and I'm showing the playhouse, and I'm inside, and I can hardly fit in it, and it was just really silly. So, awesome. I thought, gosh, how is he going to take my silliness? But he's been very supportive and loves it. I always want to make people feel special and celebrate with them. So when I do my closings, I do what I call a red carpet closing. I literally lay down red carpet. I've got these aisle things that I line up. I have balloons. And just, I want them, no matter how much they spent or not, to know that this matters. And I think the one thing that we can let everyone know in life is that they matter and how important that is. And I've always said that. And other things that I do, okay, for instance, again, people have a lot of patience with me because somehow I don't want to say I get away with things, but I think people find me so interesting or entertaining. Like we have the trunk or treat at church every Halloween. Well, what did I dress up as, Garrett?
A real estate agent?
Exactly.
Did you?
100%. I dressed up as a real estate agent.
What did that look like? What did you wear?
Well, I had on like a blazer and my name tag, and I had a playhouse that I set up, and then but my little space was one of the favorite ones because the kids came in and played in the playhouse, and then I had sold signs. So I took pictures of the kids holding my sold signs. Some were upside down, and or they were in their house, and I interviewed them. I made them sign the buyer's agency agreement before they went to the house. So it was like this whole big thing, and I videoed it, posted it, and tried to sell them the playhouse, and then I gave them candy and the parents candy as well, and there were Smarties, and I made a card that said, "Be a Smartie and call me for all your real estate needs," and stuff. Nice. Just little things like that I like to do. I told you that I branded a golf cart and I ride it around town, and especially if I have houses in my town that are listed, which has been the majority of my sales have actually been in my hometown. I'll ride it around. My husband rides it in the day. It's got my picture on the side, and it's got silly decals on it. The front of it says "The Realtor," and just fun. So I'm going to use that for my trunk or treat this year. It's going to be my golf cart. I'm going to be in the Christmas parade, of course, cool. With lights on it. Just that. I think I lay awake at night thinking of things that I can do that are out of the box. Yeah, golly day, what else have I done? I've done...
Well, you have a really effective Facebook page, right? Yeah. You talked about that too.
So, yeah. I want to draw everyone I can to my Facebook page, and I know it's not what other realtors do. They have a Facebook page that is just for their real estate business. But see, my life is all-encompassing. It's real estate, it's the pregnancy center, it's family, it's helping people in the community. And so I use my Facebook page for all of that, and it draws people there. And then I'm throwing in, I've got this listing, or pick me as to list your property. I try to go above for my clients that have clients that were trying to sell a market that they had, and they decided to sell all their equipment. So I went down and I did a little video of all the equipment they had to sell, and it was nothing fancy. I just posted it so that people would go and buy the equipment to help them out, and a lot of people did. I just want to serve people without any expectation of anything in return. And the other thing that I've gotten to in the second year and I'm not going to say it's going to happen every time, but there are times that contracts don't go through, and I had to get to a place of peace about that, because my first year, that tore me up. If my contract, I would just be devastated. Now I'm not. I don't know if I've become numb or just trust in the Lord. This was not His will for these people. And I don't look at the fact, wow, I just lost a commission. I don't. I want to make as much money as I can, but at the same time, I have to have the peace that this just wasn't God's will for these people, and I can live with that and not be devastated when that happens anymore. First year was rough with that.
Yeah. And I remember that too. You enter into those emotions.
Right.
One of my buddies who started before me, he would always talk about, like, man, I was up all night worrying, and I'm like, what is your problem? And then I get in, I'm like, oh, dude, I totally understand. Because you enter into these situations, and it's not numbness. I think there is a reality of trusting the Lord for sure, but there's also a reality of but I can't do anything. Right. So me worrying about it doesn't help. There's literally nothing that can change. I feel for these people, but trusting that the Lord has whatever He has in store for them, like you said. So I want to circle back real quick. So I love that you said, I know that it's not that this is what I should do or this is what agents say you should do. Have your own business page, whatever. And I love your story because it's bucking what the industry says to just say, if I'm going to do this, I was teaching earlier today, and I was telling someone, I've been 100% referral. And I was telling someone, because I realized, I didn't know anything when I started. I was 27. But I realized that in 5 years, if my business had grown through cold calling, I wouldn't even want that business, right? Even if it was working, I wouldn't even want it. And so enough understanding, at least to say, if this is going to work, it's got to work the way that I was wired. And that's exactly what you're doing. You're having fun with it, right? Now, agent listening, this doesn't mean you need to go get a golf cart and put your name on it. It could, right? If that's your personality and you're stuck in a room cold calling 3 hours a day, maybe you should get the golf cart, right? Or whatever the equivalent should be. If you're the agent that is not as outgoing and enjoying those things, hey, that's okay too. You also can thrive in this industry by being yourself. Don't try to be Linda. Don't try to be me. Don't try to be your coach or your broker, whomever. Try to be who you are and how the Lord wired you. And so you play into that really well, Linda. Like, this is me. I'm just going to be who I am, and the Lord's going to bring what he brings. Now, I do think that maybe unintentionally you follow a really powerful practice of you just give and give and give, right? And ultimately the desire of people who are like, man, Linda has poured into my life. She's sown into me. She's done all these things. When they get the opportunity, they want to support you back, right? We don't serve for that reason. It just happens to be a byproduct of serving people well, right? And that's an incredible thing. They've seen you in the community. They've seen you show up on all of those things. I love the creativity, by the way, of you have the house and the sold signs and all those things. You're just being yourself. Right, you're doing you're doing TikTok because you want to. You're doing Facebook because you want to. There's no have to in this industry, in my opinion. It's be who you are and figure out how to do that. Right. So for you, as you've gone about building a business, right, and I would say your business has been building. Right, you are just loving people. You're not even necessarily saying, how do I get to 100 deals a year? It's like, how do I love people well? Lord's going to build it. How does your faith in Jesus influence the way that you approach your business, influence the way that you approach the relationships that you have?
Well, I don't want to call it my brand because that's not the one. But that's what I want people to know me as. I am the realtor who is a Christian. I don't know if it's appropriate to go the Christian realtor, but I am a realtor who is a Christian. And that is who I am, and that is the most important thing in my life, that I love the Lord with all my heart and soul, and that family matters to me, and helping people have a better life matters to me. And so if I can do that through the pregnancy center, which our ministry absolutely does, if I can do that to help a couple find their first home. I love first time home buyers because you're helping them reach a goal and make dreams come true, and I love that so much. I'm not here to become a millionaire. I just love the opportunities that I have to work with people and show them that they can do this and just have abundant life. And sometimes that includes a house. So I'm grateful every time I get to be a part of that.
So cool. And it is, again, it's this idea of, there's two Lindas could have been, right? There's the Linda that followed the way that the industry told you to build. I mean, I had, for those who have heard my story, Linda, I had sold 50 homes a year for a couple years by referral. I hire a coach. I had a coach. I hired a new coach. Get on the phone with her. She was super nice. And I said, here's my stated goal. I'm good with 50. I just want to work less, right? Like I'm trying to go home. And she said, well, look, here's what I want you to do. You need to cold call 300 people this week. You need to door knock 100 people. I'd never done that ever. And I just said, I don't want to do that. And she said, well, Garrett said, if you don't do that, you're not going to succeed in this industry. I'm thinking I feel like I'm already doing a pretty good job, whatever. We get on a call the next week, Linda, and she says, did you do your homework? I said, no, like I told you I wasn't going to. She said, you need to do it again this week or you're not going to succeed. Anyways, we ended up, breaking up. And that was a good thing. But the point is, it's like, there's one way we feel like there could have been this Linda who bought into the idea that you had to do X, Y, and Z because that's what the industry talks about. That Linda maybe would have succeeded. It's possible, right? Your personality maybe would have worked, but you would have not enjoyed yourself, right? You would have been operating counter to who the Lord wired you to be. There's not joy, there's burnout. That's grind, that's burnout, frustration. People around you would feel that. The pregnancy center would suffer because you're operating out of alignment. And then there's Linda, who's like, you know what, I'm just going to be me. And the Lord's going to build what he builds, and he can take it away. He can give it to me. He can do whatever he wants. But what my responsibility is to say, who am I? How do I control the input? Because he's the Lord of the output. So what do I need to do? Who am I already? How am I supposed to show up? These are questions that I don't think we ask enough in our industry in general, but especially as believers. How did the Lord make you? Go be that. Right? Linda's an example. Just go be that. Linda doesn't need to be anything else. I don't need to be anything else. You don't need to be anything else. Your measurement is faithfulness, not success in the eyes of the world. Faithfulness is, Lord, I'm going to be who you want me to be. Now, one thing that you mentioned pre-show, which I love too, is one of your hearts and desires for getting into the industry was you've seen what a blessing it's been that people have supported the ministry of the Crisis Pregnancy Center. You thought, I want to be able to do that for other ministries too, right? So you get in the industry, now you've got Kingdom Investments, you told me, where if people need support, you prayerfully, you're like, hey, let me write a check for them, right? This industry gives us that opportunity. So talk about the joy of that, talk about the idea of that, and then we'll dig in a little bit there.
Well, I through the years of being in the center, especially when we started out, I needed people to believe in what we were doing here, and because I told you that the pregnancy center was on its way to closing its doors when I came in. But there were people who stepped up and said, okay, I'm going to make this investment. And I just remember how that felt, that they believed in what we were doing. And I just knew, through the years there have been people who have been so generous to the center, and how that makes me feel. And I just wanted to be that person for other ministries. And it's one of my favorite things about being a real estate agent, that I can now bless other people with, part of the money that the Lord's given me. And, I also like to think about people who aren't thought about. There might be a person in your community who's getting a lot of support because they're going through some kind of crisis. But then there's times that I see people who are going through a crisis, but maybe they're not known that well, and they don't have all these people rallying. That's the person that I want to remember to be able to help, to say, I see you, the Lord sees you, I want to bless you today. The Lord wants to bless you through me. Here's just some support to help you, to bless you. I think that's so important because, in every community, there's the ones that get so much support, then there's those that are quiet that maybe not. I look for those people as well to help. And,
cool.
Missionaries and ministries here locally and afar, and other pregnancy centers. And I really feel blessed in my life that the Lord has, through this ministry and just personally, very, very blessed, and I want to pass that on. And real estate helps me be able to do that.
Yeah. I think that is something we forget. Like, part of my passion in the faithful agent community is Christian agents. One of the reasons we need to be excellent in what we do is, number one, it honors the Lord, but also we can generate more income if we aren't lazy, if we're excellent, if we're consistent, if we operate the way the Lord made us. There's a lot of people. Now, the Lord is the provider. We aren't. Right. However, there's a lot of people that maybe could benefit from us being more excellent because we'd have more income to give to those in need, right? And, I was hit with this, Linda, a couple years ago. I remember, I think it was September, and I had done everything I needed to do for the year. Like, financially, my family was fine. And I remember waking up one morning, and I messaged two of my buddies, but I remember waking up one morning and saying to them, man, I was convicted this morning because I stopped when my family was okay. And I didn't think beyond that to say, but who else would the Lord maybe want to bless through me? I need to get up and go to work, man. Like, it's okay to enjoy. It's okay to relax. Something like those things are okay, but it's who else might benefit by the work that I do? Who else? How many people have the opportunity to earn what we can earn? Very few. Right? So the opportunity, we've helped people adopt, we've given cars, we've done all kinds of amazing things, not because we're awesome, but because the Lord in his kindness said, here's your skill set. It happens to be an industry where you can earn more than somebody who's really good at X, Y, and Z. That's not me, that's stewardship. And so we must be excellent to honor the Lord, but also what about those in our community that would benefit from us becoming more excellent in what we do? And so I think that's the mindset shift. Let's not be a people marked by laziness. Let's be marked by excellence for many reasons. And you certainly have that heart, right? So as commissions come in, you were telling me how this works, right? You set aside a specific amount into Kingdom Investments. Talk to me about that.
Well, I knew that I wanted to do that from the get-go. So I opened a special account. I mean, it's a checking account, and I just take the money and I transfer part of what my commission is into that account. And when I see the need and I feel like the Lord has prompted me, I will give. I mean, it's pretty simple, but I think it's an act of obedience, and that the Lord will bless me for it. And if He chooses to, great. And if He doesn't, that's great too. I want to just be obedient and be good steward of what He's blessed me with. So
it's good. I mean, you're living out your walk in life being who the Lord made you to be. And we also happen to be, you would be that regardless. We also happen to be in an industry where one of the byproducts of that is our business grows, right? That I've always thought what a blessing to be in an industry where we can love on people well, because that's what Jesus commanded. And by doing that with excellence, most of the time, right, the Lord controls, but most of the time it means we have more deals, right? We actually earn income by loving people well. Like, that is shocking to me, that's what this industry gets to be. You're walking out who the Lord called you to be on purpose and not getting changed by an industry that might say, yeah, but good job, Linda, you sold this many homes. You could, look how many homes you could sell. You could build a big, massive team. You could do all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And you can decide whatever the Lord's leading you, or you say, you know what, I'm good. I'm going to stay exactly who I am. I'm good right here. But knowing that the stewardship of the opportunity you have is not simply stewarding the opportunity, it's stewarding the financial resources that come back, right? It's stewarding the personality that you've been given. It's stewarding the creativity that you've been given. It's stewarding all of these pieces and using it to the glory of the Lord, knowing, as you said, He can give it, He can take it away. Like Job, blessed be His name either way. Right? We can praise Him regardless. Right. So I love your story for that. If there is an agent that is listening, Linda, that's maybe struggling to say, I don't know that I can be myself, what would be your encouragement to that person listening?
I would just tell them they're made in the image of God, that He has given them certain gifts and talents, and to use those for His glory, and use it in every day and everything, in real estate, in your family, in everything. And He is faithful, and He will bless you. But I can't be you, and I can't be anybody else. I can only be who He's created me to be. And like you say, I want to live life well. I want to be excellent in what I want to do. I want to have that abundant life that Jesus died to give me. And I also want to point out, because maybe somebody needs to hear this, it's also tempting when you get blessed with more financial security. I mean, my husband is retired, and so we are fine. And this money that I do make, and I'm not rolling in it. I don't want anybody to think I'm rolling in it, because I'm not. But it's extra for us, and it's a blessing. But I'm also tempted sometimes to be materialistic. For instance, I started thinking, well, maybe I should get a new car, because all I drive is it's a 2022, but it's a Toyota Camry, Garrett. And I look at some of these luxury cars, and I'm thinking, I could swing that.
Top agents got to drive top agent cars. Definitely,
yeah. And I was very tempted last month, but I thought, you know what? And there's nothing wrong with anybody doing that. I'm not saying that go for it, be you. But it wasn't necessary for me, so I finally calmed myself down and thought, you know what? I'm just going to drive my Toyota Camry. I don't have to drive a luxury car to prove anything. And I'm just, my point is that sometimes it does get tempting to maybe not be as wise as we should be. I don't know if the Lord would get mad if I did buy a new car. I don't think so, but I know I could do better things with it. And if I roll in it maybe 5 times as much as I am, which over here on the shore, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that, but it's fine if I do or fine if I don't. Maybe I will, but I just always want to keep my eyes on the Lord and not fall into worldly things. Not that there's anything wrong. I'm not saying, but I didn't need that.
Yeah,
I,
for sure.
I don't
But it's
need it.
stewardship,
Yeah, stewardship.
right? It's what is stewardship in this. I drive a 2017 Hyundai Santa Fe with a cracked windshield, right? And mostly because if I got a new car when my wife drove a van with all the kids, she'd be like, that's not cool. But right, but it is stewardship, right? Like you said, there's no rule in Scripture that says you can't go buy a new car. But there is requirement to say, be a good steward of the resources that are His. Every house that we sell was His, right? That He allowed us to sell. The money that came in is His money. We happen to be stewards of it for a season. Then it goes somewhere else, right? And so we steward that well. I love that that's the reality. Especially a newer agent jumps in. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm making so much money all of a sudden. Well, it's awesome. What a blessing. How do we bless others? And it's okay, like you said, to say, I'm also going to take my family on a really cool vacation,
Right.
whatever it's going to
Right.
be. Yeah, but the industry is full of vanity.
Yes.
And as believers, we have to fight
Yes.
against that.
100%.
So I love that as a great
Yeah.
point. And so if they want to connect with you, Linda, how would they do that, or follow your Facebook page, or see your awesome TikTok videos, which I want to see now? How would they go about doing that? And this agent will be in the show notes too.
Well, I'm on Facebook under Linda Bayliss-Spence. That's it.
Awesome.
And then I'm on
Best
Instagram,
place
but
to
honestly,
connect.
one of the things, I don't find Instagram useful for me. It might be for others, but I'm just not. It just hasn't proven to be that great. TikTok, saying I do it because it's fun sometimes to post the videos, but I'm not a huge TikTok user, and that is Realtor Linda Spence.
Cool.
And
Okay.
yeah, so.
That's awesome. But as Facebook is like your page, can they go follow that page, see what you're doing? Yeah, awesome. Right. I think the main.
Yeah,
go
I
ahead,
just
Linda.
want to. Another thing I just want to point out is not to look at other agents. I mean, there are agents here that are doing way better than me, and sometimes, especially when you first start out, you can look at it and you're like, I'm never going to be that. I'm never going to get to that level. Well, you may or you may not, but it's so important not to look at what other people are doing, how many sales they're getting. Just keep your eyes on Jesus. Just keep your eyes on the path that He has for you. The best thing that we can ever be given is salvation, and anything beyond that,
It's a bonus. Yeah.
what a blessing. It's hard sometimes when you look at other agents doing better, or they're doing this thing and it's working. Oh, I wish I had thought of that, or they're driving that car. Or don't fall into it. Just like you say, be who the Lord has meant for you to be, and be on the path that He has for you, and be content no matter what your situation.
Amen. So good. I mean, such a good reminder. We will be viewed by our faithfulness, not our worldly
Right.
success.
Absolutely.
And that's really, really, really hard to keep our eyes there. So, Linda, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your heart with us. I know, as it has been to me, it'll be a blessing to others as well. So, what a kindness that the Lord is blessing your business and granting you deals. An agent, if you aren't getting all the deals and you're operating in faithfulness, guess what? The Lord is still blessing you. Maybe not the way that you think it is, or He's supposed to, but in the way that's going to make you more like Christ, which is the greatest blessing, is that we become more like the Son. And so, man, if I can be an encouragement to you, or Linda, reach out to us. We would love to support you in any way that we can. I love you, faithful agents. I will see you next week.